Hello and welcome to the Albion Obsessed podcast. We come to you today on the back of a victory against Leeds United. But before we dive into that, let's see who we've got on the show today. We welcome back Joe. Joe, my friend, how are you doing?
Hello, Thomas. Yeah, very good, thank you. It was lovely to see you over the weekend. You came and played some football with Lancing Warriors, so it's always fun. And obviously, the wonderful day that we had at the Amex as well. So, yeah, feeling good, mate.
Glad to hear it. Yes, it was a rather splendid weekend. I played some football with adults for the first time in about 10 years. Good times, good times. Kurtis, how are you?
I am splendiferous. Thank you, Thomas. Yes, doing pretty good. Happy to be here with you pair.
Fantastic use of the word splendiferous, Kurtis, in a sentence. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Our word of the day is splendiferous.
See if you guys can get that into a sentence throughout the podcast. And you too at home, readers, listeners, and viewers, try and use that today. That is your task for today from Albion Obsessed. Right then, let's dive straight into the episode then, and let's start talking about the Leeds game. First things first, we can't overlook the fact that we saw a change for the first time this season in the starting 11. Adam Lallana out with a calf injury and a debut for Pervis Estupinan, who played at left back. Joe, what did you make of Estupinan being part of the starting 11 against Leeds?
I think it was just a matter of time until we saw Lallana drop out through injury. I'm gutted for him, first of all. And I think his planned return is against Liverpool, and he hasn't got a very good record of playing against Liverpool with his fitness. So we could even see him limp off in that game as well. With Estupinan, I was really happy for him to get his first home start and his first league start since coming in. I thought he looked really, really promising against West Ham when he came on. For that sort of half-hour period, maybe a little bit less than that. But one question mark that was raised when he was in the side, Tom, which we mentioned when the lineups was announced, will it be a back four? And I believe we did start with a back four, but something that Graham Potter loves to do is the ever interchangeable side of the fluidity. And I thought he played a really huge part in that, Estupinan. So, yeah, really delighted to see him get his first start for the Albion.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll come on to that sort of back four flexibility in just a little while. Kurtis, what did you make of Adam Lallana not featuring? He's had a pretty decent start to the season, has Adam Lallana. So a bit of a shame for him to be out with injury. But again, as Joe says, you know, we've got to see Pervis play his first start for the team. Were you happy and excited to see him on the team sheet?
Oh, yeah, very much so. But we've also got to bear in mind that there are many things that are certain in life, and that's death, taxes, and Adam Lallana's legs being made of kitchen roll. So that he will always get an injury at some point during the season. But it is a shame because, yeah, like you said, he had a couple of really good games. But I believe he's out till October. Was I right in hearing that? So hopefully when he gets back, he'll be 100% and he can kick on from there. So.
Yeah, let's certainly hope so. I mean, Adam Lallana is fantastic. I did just while we're talking about Adam Lallana, my dad said to me when I got back from the game the other day, apparently at the end of the game, Warren Aspinall was saying on the radio that Adam Lallana was stood in the tunnel shaking the hands of every single player as they came off the pitch. And if that is true, that is a hell of a classy thing to do. And I turned around and said to my dad that I hope that when Adam Lallana retires, he sticks around at the club because, you know, he's such a professional.
Well, he was in the crowd with Andone. I saw on the screens. He was sat up there watching the game. So.
Oh, Andone. What a name. What a player.
My brother actually said to me when he's still with the club, and I was like, yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those where you'd, he's still around. You can't get rid of him. But anyway, actually, kind of a nice little segue into Andone because Andone's got a pretty poor track record when it comes to discipline. And really quickly, let's talk about the ill discipline that we saw from the off, Joe. Within the first 2 minutes, I think Leeds had already committed at least 3 fouls. But early indicators then, I suppose, of how Leeds wanted to play that game, Joe.
Yeah, they live up to their name, Dirty Leeds, and we were bantering them all throughout the game. That you dirty northern bad word. So yeah, it's one of those things where they had a game plan clearly to unsettle us. Obviously at the Amex as well, so they need something to swing the momentum or swing the game their way. And if that's their way to do it, then I don't think they're going to get very far this season. I think I don't know if it was you, Tom, but somebody that I was with on the way home, so it wouldn't have been you, said that players replicate their manager, and our players do that fantastically well. With Graham Potter, very calm, collected, and I think Leeds are a perfect representation of their manager, going berserk on the touchline. And yeah, it's clear to see that they've got one plan to unsettle teams, and that isn't the way to do it. And I feel like the referee should have been a little bit quicker to brandish the cards and to stamp some authority onto the game and say this isn't how we're going to play the game.
Yeah, I'm actually quite glad that you mentioned that, Joe, because my question to you then, Curtis, is, I mean, the first foul from a Leeds player definitely came within the opening minutes of the game. Do you think, Curtis, that referees are sometimes under pressure not to brandish the cards when those early fouls are committed, but it kind of sets the tone of the game?
In a way, I sort of feel sorry for a referee because they have to make these big judgments and these big calls and whatnot. And I know they've usually got people in their ears, but to some it's exactly the right decision. To others, it's not. A referee can never do right in everybody's eyes anyway. So, I mean, referees haven't been having a good time of it recently with some of the decisions. I don't know if you saw the handball in which game was that recently? It was the same day, but there was like a deliberate handball, and he only got a yellow card for that, and it wasn't sent off, and this was in the box. So there's some weird decisions obviously there, but I think for the most part, referee was okay, to be honest. But you were there, I wasn't. So, but it looked like he was okay on the television.
Yeah, you're right, Code. There's definitely two perspectives to be had, because I don't know if you guys have seen it, but on Twitter, a US-based Leeds thing tweeted a picture of the referee with a seagull head talking to Jesse March, and it was like, "Oh, the ref had a bad game." It's like, yeah, he did, because he should have booked more of your players. But obviously, the way Leeds fans see the game and the way we see the game is going to be very different. I did turn to you, Joe, at some point in the game, and I said, I'd be very surprised if Leeds ended the game with 11 on the pitch. Yep. They did.
I turned to my brother and said, "There's going to be a red card in this game. I can see a red card happening." And it didn't, unluckily for us. But yeah, I do agree that they definitely have this style where they just try and bully their opponents, and we just weren't having it.
No, what I absolutely adore about our players, right, is that at some points in that game, the Leeds players were squaring up to our players and trying to get under their skin, and our players just literally look at them, sort of give them a smirk and just walk away. And that's the perfect way to rile them up as well. And
yeah, I saw one of them try and like get into like Solly's head a bit. They were like pushing Solly a little, and I thought we were going to get like a rematch from the last time I was there when there was that scuffle in the corner, which was mad.
Yeah, I mean, like Solly's playing his best football at the moment, so I'm sure it would have been one of the tactics about getting his head. And we'll talk a bit about Solly in just a bit, but kind of linked to that sort of Leeds ill discipline then, and Solly March actually. Solly March was fouled. He was pretty much in a headlock. And we were given a free kick, which gave us probably the first clear-cut opportunity of the game, Joe. A ball whipped in by Pascal Gross, beautiful ball, and Adam Webster finds himself free in the box and heads just wide. Adam Webster, he's known for scoring goals from set pieces. A bit disappointing, Joe, that he didn't manage to get on the score sheet on Saturday.
Yeah, you see the chance back. I've watched it back a good few times, and he should be doing so much better there. And he will be the first person to be kicking himself. I don't have to say that he should be doing better, but he should be doing better. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm sure if that was Donkey, we would have been celebrating an early ish lead. But it's in the end it was fine. But we can say that with hindsight, can't we? But disappointed it didn't go in.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just want to highlight here, Curtis, Pascal Gross's just his dead ball prowess. His just passing prowess in the Leeds game actually was absolutely pinpoint. And there's a couple of points that we'll talk about throughout the podcast. But nothing's quite, there's nothing more Pascal Gross is there, Curtis, than putting a beauty of a ball in like that. And then 5 minutes later, hitting the first man at a corner. Pascal Gross, bit of an enigma, isn't he, sometimes?
Der KAISER, the king. I wouldn't expect anything less from him. I remember towards the sort of middle of last season, there was a good chunk of the fan base who were like, he's too slow, he's done with us, he's done. And then I was like, no, he's a really great player, blah, blah, blah. I was just defending him this entire time. And now I'm just like, ha, 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 ha. And it's been so great to see him play so incredibly well. I don't think he's actually had an off game since the beginning of the season either. So may it long continue.
Yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic as Pascal Gross this season. We'll obviously talk a bit about his goal contributions a little bit later, but I just wanted to pinpoint that. Again, it was just the most Pascal Gross thing ever to deliver a ball like that and then 5 minutes later hit the first man at a corner. But we digress anyway. Another key pivotal person in the first half, Joe, was Solly March, who was absolutely tearing Leeds apart at times. Some really clever movement, created lots of chances, but was unable to find the back of the net throughout the game. There was a few points, Joe, where I noticed Solly's head definitely sort of dropped a little bit. But Joe, surely it's only a matter of time before Solly scores this season because he's been absolutely on fire.
Yeah, it is exactly that, Tom. A matter of time. What I love about Solly, his attitude, his tenacity, it bleeds through the rest of the team. For me, he absolutely has to be in the team. If he's fit, he has to be there. Because, as I say, it just brings everybody else forwards with him. You see the work rate is second to none. And he is really, really due a goal. And I really will him to score. Obviously, as a Brighton fan, you want any player to score, but him especially, just so he can get that confidence up, that confidence that we know is in there. We've seen this guy from under 23s all the way up to the first team, all the way through our Premier League years, getting us promoted to the Premier League with an extremely important goal as well. He can be a really, really important player for us if he's not already. And I absolutely adore Solly. People getting on his back just because he can't finish a chance need to look at the bigger picture. He gives us so much more. And he's a local lad, and we have to get behind him because he's given us so much. He's given this football club so much already. And we, as fans, I think, need to give him that time.
Yeah, we certainly do. I mean, some fans might argue that we've given him enough time and it's now time to start delivering the goods. But Curtis, we've said this about previous players before. There's so much more to delivering the goods than scoring goals, isn't there? I mean, I've said it myself that if Solly March scored more goals, we'd probably struggle to keep hold of him because he can be that good. What have you made to Solly's start to the season?
I have the opinion that I've always had about Solly March, that he is tenacious, he's hungry every game, he cares, and it's quite noticeable. And I agree. I mean, if he could put the balls away, he would, be in a top six team, as you said. We're very, very lucky to have a player like him, and we should cherish him while we have him. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely due to score. He has to. If he keeps playing the way he's going, it's going to happen. I have no doubt. Hopefully at Fulham.
That would be nice, and it would do his confidence the world of good. So, yeah. And this might be me showing my bias a little bit now, because I've said before that I rate Solly really highly, and at times I rate him higher than Trossard. So this might be sort of like showing my clear agenda driven here towards Trossard, because there was a times during the first half where Trossard found himself in some fantastic positions, but he tries to do it all on his own. Graham Potter said, I believe, afterwards that, when he's in the right position, he does those things and they come off. He's like, this is an exquisite player. And when he tries them and they don't come off, then it's, Leo should have passed it. Where do you fall on Trossard, Joe? Do you think sometimes he tries to do too much on his own?
I think he does try to do a little bit too much on his own sometimes, but I don't think that's through him being arrogant. I don't think that's through him being selfish. I think it's through him wanting to get the fans off their seat, and wanting to do everything he can to give them a show, give them a bit of entertainment, and also to skin the other player, because we know he's got that in his locker to just absolutely annihilate players. Like the goal he scored against Man City a couple of seasons ago, he just spanned Ruben Diaz, 80 odd million pounds centre back. He's got it. He has. But as you say, he needs to. I don't know whether it's like a support thing where he hasn't got the support around him, and that's the only thing he thinks that he can try. But I absolutely adore Leo, and very much the same as Solly. He's always trying. His work rate is always well up there. I don't think I've ever seen a game where Leandro Trossard has been jogging or walking around the football pitch. He's always trying to win balls back. His defensive duty is fantastic. Going forwards, absolutely phenomenal. And I think he's one of the best players we've had at the football club. So yeah, he is a frustrating player, but I think that just comes with the type of player that he is. And just look at what he's done for us. And he can do it again. And I think he's going to have his best season in an Albion shirt this season.
Yeah, he's already started it very well. And we saw him, Kurtis, against Leeds play a lot higher up than perhaps he has done in the last 3 games where he's been utilised more as a wing-back. And the chance I alluded to there was another chance that was created purely by Gross. Gross found himself in the middle of the park with the ball, pinged it out to the left channel. Trossard ran into the box, and as Joe rightfully points out, didn't have the support perhaps to try to do a bit too much on his own. What have you, again, a similar question to Solly March, what have you made to Trossard's early contribution this season? And do you, again, same question as Joe, do you think he tries to do a bit too much on his own sometimes?
I mean, sort of boring answer, really. I echo a lot of what Joe just said to you, to be honest. I think Trossard gets a lot of stick for being maybe a little bit inconsistent sometimes, but I think we all, a lot of the fan base, just take a look at his goal scoring opportunities as opposed to everything else he does on the pitch, and he's involved in everything. And you just have to use your eyes. You're watching 90 minutes of a bloody football game, and he's everywhere. And yeah, I agree with Joe. I think he could end up having a very, very good season this season. It's looking to be a very exciting one for us. So, watch this space.
Yeah, it certainly is. And we'll talk a little bit about something that happened in the second half in a bit that was very exciting indeed. Just before we kind of round up our first half chat, Joe, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Pervis Estupinan, because me and you at half time were raving about this lad. And there was a bit of a hairy moment in the second half where he almost got an assist for Leeds. But generally speaking, Joe, me and you were very, very complimentary of his performance in that first half. Just tell the listeners what you made of Purvis's first half and some of his, defending.
What I love is he echoes what he said, he echoes in his performance what he said in his first ever interview as a Brighton player, that he's going to fight and die for every single ball for our football club. That had me sold on him instantly. I love that attitude coming into our football club, playing for our badge, and he showed that. He didn't give up on anything, even when he did lose the ball a few times. I know people have pointed out he's been a little bit loose in possession. He will learn from that, I've got no doubt. Let's talk about Cucurella's debut. It wasn't the best, and look at what he went on to do. So I think it was maybe even a better full debut from Estupinan than what Cucurella had, to be honest, if we're comparing. But I absolutely love him. I love the work rate. I love the tenacity. I've used that word a lot, but that's what I see from this team a lot this season over the last 4 games. Tenacity, not giving up, work rate. Pascal Gross has the highest distance covered in the Premier League. Pascal Gross, has the highest distance covered in the Premier League. It's incredible. I absolutely adore this team, from Sanchez all the way through to Danny Welbeck. And as Kurtis says, we're in for a very special season when we're getting players like Pervis Estupinan through that's going to fight for the cause and help push our football club forwards where it deserves to be.
Most definitely. And another player, Kurtis, that certainly caught the eye throughout the game, but especially in the first half, was Alexis McAllister. A lot of people a lot of people didn't like the idea that McAllister would become a more deep-lying midfielder in the absence of Yves Bissouma, but he's come into this role and he has been excellent. And I think the Leeds game especially, Joe uses this word tenacious. McAllister was everywhere. He must have covered every single blade of grass. Do you think he is suited to this deeper role?
Absolutely. I mean, clearly. I mean, he hasn't looked out of place playing in that position. He has been splendiferous, Thomas. No, but he's been very, very good. Yeah, no, he's been very, very good. I always think he's really, really good. He's quite. He's not like certain players. You know, when in a game you're like, where was this player? I didn't see him the whole game. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, Alexis is quietly doing his thing, and I don't notice him doing it, but I know he's doing an excellent job, and I don't have to worry about it. You know, and then occasionally I'll see him do like an amazing challenge or whatever, and I'm always very comfortable knowing he's doing well. So yeah.
I think that has to be said the same about Caicedo as well. I think we've now become so accustomed to Caicedo putting in absolutely boss midfield performances that we're almost not talking about him as much because it's just become the norm. And I think him and McAllister as a midfield duo are so exciting because they're so we're going to use it again. They're so tenacious. Every single loose ball, every single opportunity to make an interception, they are there. They are going for it. And
can we talk about that tackle in the first half from Caicedo, where he went through the back of the Leeds player? I put my head in my hands. I was like, "Oh my god, what has he done?" But he won the ball. How does he do it? It looks like he's about to make the most reckless challenge you've ever seen, but he'll come out with the ball and then he'll ping, and then we're off.
It was the same against Newcastle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was putting in these challenges, and you were like, "Oh my god, he's about to get sent off. He's about to get sent. Oh my god, he's won the ball. How on earth did he do that?"
You know, there's a scientific term for someone like him. Different gravy, son. Different gravy.
Or splendiferous.
There you go. You've both used it. Good skills. Yeah. I mean, just again to reiterate, Caicedo and McAllister in midfield. What a pairing. And then, meanwhile, Bissouma's rotting on the bench at Spurs, but we move. So we closed off the first half without scoring a goal, but I think it would be fair to say that we were the better team. We did come out in the second half. Leeds did put up more of a fight, but again, the first big opportunity in the second half fell to a Brighton player, Joe. Now, that man was once again Solly March. But before we talk about that one-on-one that Solly March had, let's talk about the build-up to that chance. Some beautiful hold-up play by Danny Welbeck, plays in Gross, who spots the run of Solly March, which is an excellent run, by the way, and delivers a pinpoint pass, Joe. Just talk about those three aspects for me, please. The hold-up play, the pass, and the run.
Well, what it did was it cut Leeds in half, it cut them in half again, and then it cut them in half again. And now they're just utterly in pieces, scrambling to chase after Solly March.
That's eighths for anyone who wants to know.
Thank you, Tom. And you mentioned right from the start Danny Welbeck's hold-up play. He hasn't scored yet this season, but my God, what he brings to the team is just something I've never seen before. His class just oozes every single time I see him on the pitch for us. And as you say, Pascal Gross can, I'm sure, honestly, like next game against Fulham, can we just play him blindfolded just to give them a tiny bit of an advantage? Because it's just so unfair on other teams because the guy is so intelligent. As I said before on the podcast prior, he's the most intelligent man I've ever seen, maybe other than Bruno in his later years. That I've seen in a Brighton shirt. And then it sends Solly on his way. We've already mentioned, yes, Solly's low on confidence in terms of in front of goal. I thought that was going to be the moment. I really did. It took him an age to get to the box. I don't know if you feel the same, Tom. But when he got into that box, I was like, just pull the trigger. Please pull the trigger. And he shoots it straight at their keeper. I can't remember his name. Melier.
Is it Melier? I believe.
Yeah. And yeah, I was so gutted. But what a move. And it sent us on our way for a very creative second half, I felt.
Yeah, it was a beautiful move. It has to be said, and I just want to highlight it was a really clever run from Solly. It was a really good run, and you sometimes forget how quick Solly is. What I did feel, Kurtis, is though that the final touch that took Solly into the box was probably a bit too heavy, and it just took the ball away from him just a little bit, and that meant that he didn't have as much control of the ball when he came to shoot. But surely, Kurtis, I know we've already said it, but surely he will score soon. What did you make of the move, my friend?
Amazing. Really great, an excellent idea. But like you said, it was just a little too much on that piece of toast for him to get to. So I just feel like, the next, maybe Fulham, the next couple of games, whatever, it has to happen. It has to, right?
You'd like to think so. I just feel like I'm repeating myself because Solly must have had a good 4 chances in that game, 3 or 4 chances to score. And bless him, he didn't manage to score. But it's going to happen, guys. It's going to happen. You can pin this tweet. It's not a tweet. It's a video or a podcast. You can pin this podcast. It's going to happen. Solly is going to score at least 1 goal this season. And hopefully it will be sooner rather than later to keep the lads' confidence high. But let's move on because there was another piece of wonderful hold-up play from Daniel Welbeck. He leaves the ball off to Moises Caicedo, who plays in Leandro Trossard, who plays in Pascal Gross, who hits the ball first time and it goes and hits the back of the net, Joe, and the crowd goes wild. Yeah. What did you make of the goal?
Exquisite. The guy has so much technique when it comes to put him anywhere in the box, he will find the back of the net. I've got no doubt in my mind. Comes with his intelligence that I've mentioned obviously before. Right place, right time, straight across the goalkeeper. None of this near post stuff, shooting it at the keeper. Right where the keeper's never going to get it. And let's talk about the move as well. As you say, Danny Welbeck, again, class. Caicedo is everywhere. I'm sure prior to that he was in front of our box defending, and then he's suddenly up by the Leeds box. I don't know what he's doing, but I love it. And Trossard is obviously cut in from the left hand side, plays in a beautiful ball, and as soon as it comes to Gross, I know he's scoring. I've got no doubt. And Nestle's in the bottom corner, and Q Pandemonium in the north stand. The roof went off. I jumped. You were sat in front of me, Tom. I jumped on your back. Apologies for that. And it was a great time. Loved it.
Yes, it was absolutely fantastic. And because of that goal, we got to do something that I never ever thought I would ever get to see or hear. And that was, Kurtis, for a brief 4 minutes, we got to sing "We're top of the Premier League. We're top of the Premier League." I mean, for 4 minutes, Kurtis.
Stop the count. Stop the count.
For the briefest time, Kurtis, Brighton and Hove Albion were top of the Premier League until that lot up the road couldn't hold their nerve.
Tom, they're still first in here. Still first in here. But it was fantastic to see, and then seeing it all over social media, and it was just like, I couldn't have been smiling any bigger without my face physically falling off. I was so happy, and I'm so glad you guys got to see that as well. If I was there, that would have been ruled offside. I can guarantee I am cursed. Yeah, excellent. So still mind-boggling to see us where we are now. So top of the league, mad.
Yeah, some people might be saying, whoa, Tom and Albion Obsessed. We're only 4 games in. Why are you losing your shit? Sorry about the swearing. About little old Brighton. They were only top of the Premier League for 4 minutes. Chill your beans. And I would say to them, when I was at the Withdean, because I was born there. I was born at the Withdean. That's how you know I'm such a massive Brighton Hove Albion fan. When I was at the Withdean and while we were watching Division 3 football, I never once believed in my life that I would see the day where that would be a thing. And it was only a thing for 4 minutes. And I don't want to curse it, but I'm going to put it out into the universe. If we beat Fulham on Tuesday, we will be top of the Premier League. And that doesn't matter how close we are to the beginning of the season, how far we are away from the end of the season. That is massive for me. Absolutely massive. So yeah, for 4 minutes, I was on cloud 9 because, I just never thought I'd see the day. Joe, do you think I'm just a romantic old fool getting all giddy about Brighton being top of the league for all of 4 minutes?
No, it was a very special moment, and other fans might come onto this and laugh at us. Oh, ha, ha, ha. You were only top of the league for 5 minutes and you're celebrating that. What a trophy for Brighton, as I see all the bloody time on social media. Massive L, big W, shut up. I absolutely adored singing that. I got goosebumps looking at that Premier League table, scrambling to screenshot it because no, it maybe never will happen ever again in our club's history. But we were there. And as we said, we could be on for a really important, very, very exciting season to shut these people up that say, no, Brighton have hit their ceiling. We apparently, according to an NX manager, hit our ceiling a good 9 years ago. When he left, he said we'd hit our ceiling. Look at us now. We are honestly a team that are fighting for Europe. With none of this relegation stuff, none of this looking over our shoulders stuff. If this curses us, I apologize. But honestly, I believe in this team so bloody much that we could be on to qualifying for Europe this season. And I am absolutely here for it.
Listen, they better get the roofers in down the Amex because straight through, mate. Straight through.
Yeah, it's been a really exciting start to the season. You can feel the buzz around the ground. You can feel the buzz even through social media about how excited Brighton fans are. Especially as so many people were writing us off because of the sales of Yves Bissouma and Marc Cucurella. A lot of people were ready to go, oh yeah, they'll get relegated this year because they've sold the best players. And let's be brutally honest here. That could still happen. Let's not be those arrogant fans that oh, it's never going to happen. It could still happen. Look what's happening to Everton. Look what is happening to Leicester. So it is still in the realms of possibility. And I don't think we can ever be too arrogant to assume that we're still not fighting for our place in this league. However, as you rightfully say, Joe, you said throughout this squad, there's something special about these guys. There's no stars, there's no Paul Pogbas or Cristiano Ronaldos or any 70 million pound players. There are a group of players.
Sorry.
There are a group of players that have got each other's backs. That you can see the passion when they play together. You could see the passion when Gross scored. The celebrations. This team is special, and they've got it in them to do great things. Whether they can sustain that through an entire season without any more potential reinforcements in the transfer window remains to be seen. But for now, at least, Brighton Hove Albion fans should be very excited about the start of the season. And, who knows what we can go on to achieve. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, guys, because what will happen.
Can I point out about the celebrations? Pervis Estupinan in front of the North Stand. It was class. I loved it. He had no interest in celebrating with his teammates. He had full attention on the absolute scenes in the North Stand, and he was giving it the old fist pumps, and I was loving it. And to see a player that's been at our club for 5 minutes, it's just wonderful to see them get on the bandwagon and push, as I said earlier, push our club where we deserve to be, because we've got the best owners in the league, we've got the best fans in the league, we've got the best squad in the league, at least for 5 minutes anyway.
We do certainly have two of the best centre-backs in the league. And we talk about, these players putting themselves on the line, fighting for every blade of grass, fighting for every inch, fighting for every point. There was a moment in the second half, Joe. I can't remember if it was Lewis Dunk or Adam Webster, but one of them took a ball to the face from pretty much point blank range and was down for a good couple of minutes. We thought he'd been knocked out, didn't we?
It was Dunkey.
Was it?
Yeah, and you expect nothing less from him. Honestly, he would put his life on the line for this football club. And how he's not in the conversation. Well, he is in the conversation from fans that know what football is. But how he doesn't get anywhere near the England squad just baffles me. And we'll continue to say it. We had it mentioned by Brian Horton, who came on our podcast. What a wonderful interview that was. Go check it out below. He mentions that he should be in England squad. He's the best in the country. And this is a former manager saying this. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to football. And yeah, I don't know how much time it will take for Gareth Southgate to realise that we've got two of the best centre-backs in England. Like, put them at the back for England. They already know what each other are doing. They already have this club link that is going to really help England build from the back and give them such a solid base. We've conceded one goal this season, and that was an own goal, which could have easily been prevented if Sanchez didn't get in the way of McAllister. That was through no fault of our centre-backs. They've been world-class and faultless, and they should be the first people on that sheet for the England squad.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the English centre-backs in the league, the ones that are in form, Webster and Dunk, obviously. And then imagine this, if you will, boys. Dan Burn. You want to see a back line for England that has got chemistry, that can defend.
Well.
But Ben White's good, but I'd have Dan Burn because Dan Burn's left-footed.
Ben White is versatile, and he's been playing really well for Arsenal.
But at right back, Joe, at right back.
Yeah, but he's still in defence, and he's still got the chemistry with the boys that he played with at Brighton. So,
okay, so
England could be on for a really good thing now.
But do you remember? I know we're digressing here, but we're talking about Southgate. We're talking about defence. There was a period in 2020 where we had a back five of all English players: Solly March, Adam Webster, Lewis Dunk, Ben White, and Tariq Lamptey. And we had the second least goals conceded after Chelsea. And none of them. Well, actually, no. I tell it like Ben White did get picked because he went to the Euros. But that just goes to show you what Brighton players are up against when it comes to trying to get into the England team. You can almost guarantee that Tyrone Mings will go, that Harry Maguire will go, that John Stones will go, Connor Cody. All these players that are playing below, out of form for clubs that are near the bottom, or not even playing at all in the case of the likes of John Stones and Harry Maguire, they'll get picked over perhaps the best centre-backs in the league currently.
And let's not forget as well that Ben White only got selected, one, because of an injury, and two, because Gareth Southgate probably knew that deal to Arsenal was going to go through. And maybe I'm creating an agenda here. Maybe I'm being biased towards my football club. But I don't think we'll ever, unless it's a mega standout star, I don't think we'll ever see a Brighton player play for England, because it's just not on Southgate's cards. I say that whilst Southgate's in charge. Obviously, if God forbid Graham Potter went there, I think we would. But all the time Southgate's there, it's just going to be backwards football, picking his mates, and getting to finals through the easiest routes possible.
Well said, Joe.
Sorry, Toby.
Yeah, Toby of the Albion Obsessed family is a big fan of Gareth Southgate. But we digress. But I think I just wanted to highlight just how fantastic Lewis Dunk is as a defender. As you say, literally putting his body on the line. I wasn't sure if it was Dunk or Webster because they both now wear the same coloured boots, and it was right in front of the south stand. We were in the north, so quite far away. But anyway, we saw her out the rest of the match, Kurtis. There was a hairy moment, as we've already alluded to, where Estupinan almost gave a Leeds player an assist. We managed to survive, but no big saves from Bobby Sanchez. The game is played out well. Another very professional performance, did you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Bobby's been really good recently as well. I think he's looked a lot less prone to a mistake, which has been good. He's had a fair few clean sheets too, which is pretty nice. Yeah. So again, may that long continue. But yeah, I think we showed a really good defensive performance in that latter half of that second half. So yeah, really, really impressed. And listen to the mistake from Pervis. Every player makes a mistake. He'll learn from that, and he'll grow. And for the rest of the pretty much for the rest of the game, he was fantastic anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was one of those where he produced a lovely bit of skill to beat a player, and then perhaps didn't get a call to say man on. He was pickpocketed, but again, it shows that tenacity to get the ball back. It was just a shame that when he almost did when he did put in the challenge, that the ball trundled past the far post, because that was a bit of a hairy moment. But I don't think, Joe, there were many moments in that game where Leeds truly threatened the Brighton goal.
There was that one at the post. I remember they nearly got one in through the right post, and like he just went out. If you remember.
Yeah, there was a couple. There was one that sort of just fell to the side of the southwest corner towards the west end.
Free kick that Webster gave away.
I believe so. And there was that one that you mentioned, Tom, about the Estupinan giving the ball away, and it literally just trickled through, and the Leeds player didn't connect. But I don't know how this team beat Chelsea 3-0. In what world does this team beat Chelsea 3-0? Whether Chelsea was sucked into the physical battle and lost their heads, maybe. I know obviously their keeper made a mistake. Chelsea's keeper made a mistake to make it 1-0 leads, and then the momentum is just there. Obviously Chelsea got a man sent off as well, I believe. Yeah, in what universe does that Leeds team beat Chelsea 3-0? It just baffles me, because they had no second idea. Even their manager came out and blamed the players for freestyling and not sticking to the game plan. I mean, what manager comes out and blames his players? Could never be my manager. I just think it's a completely disjointed team, and I think again they'll be lucky this season to stay up, because they've had a few decent enough results at the start of the season, but I think people will find them out. People will come clever to their dirty physical way, and it's not going to get them anywhere, especially with that moaning numpty on the touchline, which you've got in your talking points, Tom. So I've just given you a segue. There you go.
Cheers, dude. Yeah, Curtis, Jesse March got himself booked for having a wobbly on the touchline. I believe it was over a foul, another foul that Leeds gave away. I mean, I will say, to be fair to Jesse March, I think in the post-game comments, he was quite complimentary of Brighton, which is unusual because normally it's a very, teams like Brighton, we should be beating teams like Brighton. But Jesse March was very complimentary of the way we set up. So fair play to him on that. But what did you make of Jesse March's touchline theatrics?
Just like you said, it's all theatrical. I didn't see what he was trying to prove with all that, and yeah, he got carded. I mean, he had it coming. Just not sure how necessary any of it was. And I think Potter was asked about it, and he was just like, I don't pay attention to what's going on next to me. I just pay attention to my team or what they're doing on the field. And I was like, yes, Potter, yes.
I'd absolutely adore to know what goes through Graham Potter's mind when managers are on the other side losing their collective shit.
I reckon he was like this. I reckon he was like, mug.
I'd imagine so.
The thing is, I think the only time I've ever seen Graham Potter genuinely lose his marbles is against Man City, which he bless him, he came out and apologised for. But yeah, I don't mind passion on the touchline, but it goes back to that earlier point we were making about how people see things differently. Because as Brighton fans, we saw the ref as too weak. He should have been given out yellow cards to the Leeds players for the continuous fouling, whereas obviously Leeds fans and Jesse March were very not very happy with the referee, thinking that he was giving them too much. So yeah, funny old world, isn't it? Talking of funny old world,
Hold on.
post.
Sorry, Tom. There's only one March, and that's Solly March.
Oh yeah, the Leeds fans tried to steal our Solly March chant. That was just rude. Almost as rude as the Cucurella chants that are going on at Chelsea and the Basuma chants that are going on at Spurs, and the fans of those respective clubs thinking that they made them up. That's even ruder, and I will not stand for it. But anyway, we were talking about strange things, and the strange thing was, I found that post game, a lot of people were talking about the man of the match on Twitter, and we'll come and talk about our man of the matches now as well. But it seemed a lot of people saw a lot of different things, and I'm not saying those people are wrong. I think it's really interesting to see how, as we've already said, there's no like major stars in this team. Everyone is consistently putting in 8, 9, 10 out of performances, Joe. So I'll come to you first, mate. Which player caught your eye in the Leeds United game on Saturday?
I will. Oh, it's so difficult. Like, it could have been everyone that came off the bench. It could have been everyone that started. You've got a good 13, 14 selections for man of the match here. I would probably single out, if I had to single out a player, Pascal Gross for his creativity and for scoring the goal, obviously meaning that we won the match. But I think I'm actually going to go for Lewis Dunk. Because I think it becomes a norm, as we said about Caicedo, that these players just perform so top level that it just goes unnoticed. And that's our third clean sheet of the season. It's massive credit to Adam Webster as well, Joel Veltman, Robert Sanchez. But Lewis Dunk is the leader, the legend in that back line. And he deserves so many plaudits and another clean sheet. He plays so well. He took a ball to the face for the team. As I say, this guy will literally lay his life on the line for this football club. So for that reason, it has to be Lewis Dunk.
Yeah, I'm actually really glad you said Lewis Dunk. He had a really good game. We spoke, Joe, didn't we, during the game about his passing. You know, the fact that he was just pinging balls into the channels, which is another aspect of his game that is just so top draw. So yeah, very good shout there, Joe. Very good shout. Curtis, who was your standout player?
Again, it's very hard to pick one of them. Lewis Dunk's definitely a great shout. I'm going to say Caicedo, though. I mean, it could have been him or McAllister for me. They were both fantastic in that midfield. Really, really good. But I thought Lamptey looked good as well. Really good footwork. I thought Pervis looked really good. I mean, again, just a lot of the team looked great, and it was hard. But I would definitely say Caicedo for me.
Yeah, as we've all said, really tough choice. No necessarily standout 10 out of 10 player while everyone else was putting in fives. It was just a general fantastic team performance. I'm going to give a honourable mention to Pervis because I thought it was a really good debut. Yes, I know he put in a few stray passes here and there, but generally speaking, he was just very exciting to watch. But I'm going to give my man of the match to Alexis McAllister, I think, just because he was just everywhere. And we talk about quietly going about your job. He just seemed to be doing that a lot. But again, a big shout out to Lewis Dunk. I could go through the team. Pascal Gross, everyone, top notch performance. What an exciting time it is to be a Brighton fan. And the fixtures are coming thick and fast because we play against Fulham on Tuesday night, which at the time of recording is tomorrow. So, guys, Fulham. Do you think, Joe, that Fulham might be a bit more of a test than some fans are thinking? It's not going to be an easy game, is it?
I mean, I'm going to pull out the cliche that all the managers say. Every single game in the Premier League is a new challenge, new test, and it will be another really tough game away from home, Craven Cottage. Their fans obviously excited to be back in the Premier League. Mitrovic playing really well, looking really dangerous. Hopefully our centre-backs can deal with him well. There's news that Veltman might be a doubt for tomorrow, which concerns me a little bit, but I think Colwill coming in, even Van Heck could do a job, so I'm not overly concerned. But what we have to do is we just have to stick to what we know we can do. We have to stay professional, and if we do that, we will come away with a result. So yeah, it's going to be a really tough test, but let's hope that we can our quality can prevail and we can just see the game through. I'd even take a draw, to be honest. I know a lot of fans might get on my back for that, but you're away from home. Our home form is notoriously good, especially in London. So hopefully we will see 3 points. But if we take a point and come back to the Amex on Sunday and take on a very out of sorts Leicester, then yeah, it will add to a wonderful start to the season.
That it certainly does. How about you, Curtis? What do you think about the Fulham fixture? Is this a game where we should be aiming for 3 points? Or, as Joe has said, do you think it will be another tough test and we could hopefully come away with at least a point?
I think a tricky game. Yeah, I do. I think it's going to be a tricky one. They've been playing fairly well since the start of the season. As Joe said, I'm going to echo a lot of what Joe said. Really, I mean, just like Mitrovic looking dangerous, they're going to be up for it. They're going to believe that they're going to take 3 points from us, and we're going to do the same thing. It's going to be a great battle. I just look forward to hopefully seeing us score and seeing Shane Duffy on the bench just going like that. But otherwise, yeah, it's going to be tricky, but I am confident for it. So.
Definitely. Well, let's hope that the boys can deliver and get us some points. As I say, if we win on Tuesday night, I think I'm right in saying that we would go top of the Premier League table and we would finish the day at the top of the Premier League table, something that has never happened in our club's history, as far as I'm aware. But before we sign off, guys, I just want to talk to you a little bit about some exciting projects that we've got coming your way at Albion Obsessed. And one of them is being delivered by our very own Curtis Friend, who is doing a FIFA 10 career mode with Brighton. Curtis, would you like to tell the listeners and viewers a little bit more about the content that you're creating for us?
Yes, you're going to see me stumble through a game that I never played before, which is even better. FIFA 10, we're going to take Brighton all the way to the Premier League. And during this episode, we make a very special phone call to our man on the ground. So just watch this space. It's very good, very fun. I hope you all watch it and enjoy, basically.
Thank you, Curtis. I'm very much looking forward to seeing it myself. So keep your eyes peeled on the Albion Obsessed social channels, guys, because, of course, we will update you when we have put that onto YouTube. And we've also got our Agree to Disagree, haven't we, Joe? That was really fun to film coming out this week. And so don't forget to catch that when you can.
It was.
By the way,
sorry, go on.
Just quickly, once again, I just want to say for everybody, thank you for watching and giving us nice comments and things. It really, really warms my heart, and I'm sure everybody else's, to read all these nice things you all have to say. It makes what we do feel a lot better. So thank you, all of you. You're wonderful.
Indeed. Absolutely, Curtis. I definitely echo what you say there. Yeah, the Agree to Disagree, Tom, was really fun to film. I had an amazing time editing it. It's like the first ever like YouTuber-esque thing that I've edited, and it's really funny. If I do say so myself, there's some really good moments in there. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. And yeah, just to talk about Curtis's thing, and I'm editing that at the moment, and I'm about sort of 5 minutes in, but already it's really good, really funny, really entertaining. So yeah, look out for that. Also, we interviewed Brian Horton. If we haven't told you that already, go on to our channel and give that a listen. It was an amazing chat. Honestly, we came away from that with goosebumps. He's got so many stories. We hope that maybe we can get him on again on a future date, and we can hear some more of his stories about playing for the Albion, because he said he's got a few. So yeah, go give that a watch. And to echo what Curtis has said, thank you everyone for the lovely comments, for subscribing, for following, for interacting with us on Twitter, even interacting with us at the Amex. It's all very fun stuff. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, definitely, guys. At the end of the day, we're just people sitting around talking about football. So the fact that people tune in to listen to us or watch us do so is is still a bit mind-boggling to me. But no, thank you very much, guys. And that leads us to the end of our show today. So wherever you may be, whenever you may be, have a fantastic evening, day, morning, night, pre-evening, brunch, wherever. But don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content if you haven't done so already. We've been Albion Obsessed, and we'll see you next time. Drop the music, Joe.